Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another video with Ed here. My name is Ed, and I just occasionally do gaming videos, and now I'm doing movie reviews as well. So, uh, as you can tell, today I'm reviewing the movie The Menu. So this movie has gotten a lot of attention on TikTok and other social media platforms about how it's unique and basically the movie itself is a satire about the food industry, right? From both the cooking experience and also from the customer experience. So, um, I'm gonna first give you a review from a no spoilers, and then I'll dive into spoilers, but I'll give you a warning, right? So overall, I really like this movie. The movie itself, again, like it's a satire about the industry, and basically you have Ralph Ray Fiennes here who plays this like celebrity chef, right? A really acclaimed chef, like Gordon Ramsay slash like Tim Keller, slash David Chang, like whoever thinking of a celebrity chef, like it's a kind of that caliber, right? People like you say his name, it's like, oh my gosh, like I want to go to his restaurant. He's an amalgamation of a few more eccentric, like I think celebrity chefs, like Rene Redzepi, in terms of like how they look at food, how they they go into like existential like thoughts, and how like every dish they do like crazy plating, and they go into they take food like to a point where it's like more than just like a plate of food, right? And then you have the characters here with um John Leguizamo and a few other characters in the background here, and then the characters in the front. You have Nicholas Holt, and then I'm sorry, I'm just looking up the names. Ann Taylor Joy, you know, Anna Taylor Joy. Sorry. They play other characters who are like foodies, people who love food more than they probably should in some ways, where they like idolize food and they idolize chefs, right? Celebrity chefs. And so, all these customers, they go to this super exclusive restaurant that's on an island, and they only serve, probably a handful of people per day, and it's 12.50, I believe, per person. So it's expensive, right? These are kind of like three Michelin star type restaurants who are just insanely expensive, and they only invite a certain type of clientele, or like they only allow certain people to eat there, right? Like they're clearly going for a certain group of people. And so the movie itself, the way it plays out, the story, and how they tell like each how they go about telling each character's background is very unique. Each time they do a course, they name the course, they tell you what's in it, and then, or like all the ingredients, but then each course kind of reveals a little something about each character. And I find that it was very interesting in how they go about just kind of criticizing this world, because again, it's satire. It's pretty interesting. Like I liked it a lot. And it was parts of it were a little disturbing, in the sense that I'm like my face, the look on my face was just like in terms of what's going on. The eccentricness of Ray Fiennes' character, I think he does a great job of just portraying this like overly zealous slash like obsessed chef who is like, he is so into himself but also frustrated with like the food industry, that like he's like kind of like gone off his rocker, because like a lot of the chefs even that work for him, like the sous chefs and the line cooks, like this, they have this obsession. It's like, oh, I don't care if I work for this person for free, I just want to get the experience, right? They just want to put something on their resume, and they just want to learn from like this genius who's like, they consider these people like the new Da Vinci or the Michelangelo of food, right? Like these people who are like doing groundbreaking work, when in reality, like in 100 years, like no one's gonna know their name anymore, like no one's gonna give a crap, right? But overall, I think this movie's pretty good. I think if you guys are seeing a lot of reviews out there, like I definitely suggest to go watch it. They call it a horror or satire horror, but there's no jump scares or anything like that. It's just kind of creepy in terms of like these people. So you're constantly like kind of second guessing, like, oh my gosh, like what's gonna happen next? And overall, yeah, there's none of that like craziness. Like it's not like a hack and slash. It's not like the chefs turn around, break out knives, and just start like slicing people up. It's not like there's no like cannibalism or anything like that. But overall, yeah, I keep saying overall, but yeah, it's a pretty good film. It's a very well acted film. You definitely, depending on which character you're looking at, every single character, like you start to either love or hate them, and they do it portraying it in a way that you just want to like, wow, like I hope something happens to you. So I think it's very well done in a lot of sense. The only thing that I wish they kind of explained a little bit more on was like certain motivations, like what was Ray Fine's motivations at the end of the day. I wish they maybe I need to go rewatch it again. They go into it very lightly, I would say. They don't go into it enough. But yeah. Um anyways, final thoughts before I go into spoilers is that go watch it. Let me know if you enjoy it. But now we're gonna go into the spoiler section. So if you don't want to know what happens in this movie, please like pause or turn away now. Go watch the movie and come back. But okay, so spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Now, don't say I didn't warn you. All right, so in terms of spoiler, okay, like I said before, I really enjoy this movie. I probably wanted every single person except for Margot, Anna Taylor's character, to die. Like every single person here was a complete dick. Maybe not so much John Leguizamo. He was kind of like the has been celebrity who likes to name drop and like has kind of basically hit his prime, and he's trying to restart his career, right? And he likes to still brag because people like understand his movies or still know of his like movies and what he's done, but like he's a has been, right? You have Nicholas Holt's character, who is a complete douchebag. He is a foodie through and through, where he'll like research different cooking techniques, and he likes to think of himself as like maybe an amateur chef, where he can probably cook himself, but like you know, like Ray Fine says, like he's the type of person who has like ruined the cooking world for him, in terms because like these amateur foodies who you know are very intellectual don't have a lot of actual working knowledge, right? Like it's one thing if a chef criticizes a chef because they actually been in the industry, but then you have guys like Nicholas Holt who in his character who basically fancy themselves like they think they're in the industry, but they're not. They've never worked a day in that industry, but they like kind of treat themselves like as if they had. And they're probably very knowledgeable of how certain food techniques are, but they've never actually done any of it. Maybe they've tried, like a few techniques every now and then, but definitely not to the degree of like a trained chef would, right? And then you have these like corporate douchebags over here who are clearly they have a lot of money. They do shady things. They probably do like insider trading or whatever shenanigans. Like they do a lot of tax evasion, and they have a lot of money. And they go to these restaurants, get like fancy foods, but they don't really appreciate the food. They just go and spend money, and they think that because they have money, they can do whatever they want. Then you have these critics here in the back. The lady is the critic, and basically because she's a well-renowned critic, she's able to ruin lives with one review. Like if um she can basically ruin an entire restaurant. If she says like this place sucks, like sales stop the next day type of situation. So she kind of does an like, abuse of power. She'll definitely use her influence to be like, oh, like I'm so and so, so like you should give me a table. Like she's basically like the portrayal of the corrupt food critic, right? And then you have this random couple where from what I can understand, he is a this guy basically is a cheater. You know, he is having an affair, or he's had several affairs uh, with other women, and that was like a weird. I didn't really see how they fit into the food world aside from the fact that this guy has money and he's brought like every single one of his mistresses to this restaurant, but not so much his wife. Like, but I guess like from Ray Fiennes' point of view is like, oh, okay, this guy, he is parading his infidelity in this restaurant, thinking like we don't care, when it's like we take notice. Like we see when you don't come in with your wife, and we see when you do, type of situation. Because like this isn't like going to Olive Garden where they get hundreds of different customers and they may not recognize you. This is like super exclusive restaurant where there's only like maybe 20, 30 guests a night, and they're paying top dollar. So they know everything about the guests, right? So very interesting. Margot, Anna Taylor's character, was her Anna Taylor Joy character. Like she is the only odd man out. Like she wasn't even supposed to be the at the dinner that night, but Nicholas Holt, because he like I guess like there's a rule that you can't dine alone. He basically hired her. Apparently she's an escort. Like I didn't really get that at first. I had to kind of like had my girlfriend like explain that to me. I'm like, oh, like she's like not his girlfriend. It's like she's a paid escort, and he just needed someone to go with him, so he just paid her for her to be there, knowing that there was going to be something deadly at the end. So, and then I love Hong Chau's character, Elsa. Sorry, I'm like I don't remember everyone's names, but I love her because I just rewatched Downside. She was in that. I liked her in The Watchmen, the TV show, even though that wasn't a very great TV show. I liked her as a character. So I think her stoic mannerisms and like kind of also her, she just puts on a smile. She's like a gracious host, but is also like I love the fact that when she's dealing with these douchebag corporate yuppies, she's just like no, like um I feel like in some ways like whenever she tells like these people like no, you can't have something, it's like I think I wonder if that's like every a service person's wet dream, or just dream of like being able to tell a customer like no, you can't have this just because you want it, and I don't care what you do, I told you no, so sit your ass back down and shut the f up. Like, and I feel like that's basically her character, and I loved it. So uh the only I think like at the there wasn't yet anything I can really say like I disliked about this movie or anything. It was just like kind of really twisted. I like the way they played out every single character's like what's wrong with them. They when they broke out the tortillas and they revealed that like this guy who doesn't like to follow the rules is like they caught him constantly taking pictures of the food when he was told not to. You have these guys, they had like tax records on the tortillas that had been like seared in, and then all this other craziness. Like I thought that was just like really wild on like why on this whole scenario. Yeah, and I'm also curious to, in some ways I can see why Ray Fiennes like chose all these different people to be at the restaurant that night. Like, you have the corporate douches who happen to work for the number one investor of this restaurant that Ray Fiennes hates. You have Nicholas Holt's character who is like, according to Ray Fiennes, is like the epitome of why like cooking sucks now, because you have these intellectual foodies um who are just like super obsessed and over a little too overzealous of the cooking of like of celebrity chefs. um you have the critic in the back here who is the type of person who abuses their power. But in terms of why he wants to include like this couple, aside from just exposing his infidelity, like I didn't really get that. Maybe someone can tell me in the comments, so maybe I missed that part. And then like was this John Leguizamo's character is like, oh, I hate you because I hate your movie. which I thought was hilarious. Like it was kind of like, dude, he didn't. Does he deserve to die because of that? Like, does he deserve like this kind of crazy ass death just because you hated his movie? Maybe there was a little bit more to it. Maybe I got to rewatch it again. But that was like the general gist I got from that. It was like, oh yeah, you don't deserve this, or you do deserve this just because I hated this movie. Obviously, uh, Anna Taylor Joy's character, she's the only one that makes it out at the end, um, because she is arguably the only person that hasn't done anything like to piss him off per se. But yeah, overall, I really like this movie. Again, I keep saying overall. I really suggest you guys go watch it. Let me know what you guys think of it in the comments. Um, I hope that. I mean, I'm not sure if they're gonna make more of these. I mean, it's not exactly gonna be a sequel. Hope no one makes another or a sequel to this. But this is a very original movie that finally is not a remake or a sequel to something. And I overall, I just really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. Let me know if you do or don't. But you know, yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys like my review, and I'll talk to you guys later. Take it easy.